celebrate with my friends, my family, my Langley family. I'm 53 years old, so I'm about half of a century of this 100 years of legacy. And I spent about a quarter of a century of my time with NASA. And I think about all of the times that we have helped inspire that next generation through the things that we do that are hard. And growing up in a small town in Lynchburg, Virginia, I think about the community there that set me on a path for excellence. And this storied journey, this legacy that we have created that has actually changed the universe. We have probes that are at the heliopause, Voyager, where the sun has no more influence on the solar winds. And I think about the technology and the lives that have been transformed through STEM. We say STEM, but I say STEAM because we add the A, because the arts are such an integral part that ties us together as a civilization. And throughout this journey, unbeknownst to me, I've been chasing space all my life, I didn't even know it. And I think about what set this course on this path was when John F. Kennedy petitioned Congress for money to send a man to the moon and back safely. And this was May of 1961. Basically a month after Yuri Gagarin, April 12th, orbited the Earth before us. And I was talking to a young girl the other day who sent me an email from her father's email. She said, Mr. Melvin, if there had been no Jim Crow laws or segregation in the 50s and 60s, would we have beat the Russians to orbit the Earth? And I said, wow. She said, well, can you ask Katherine Johnson then? So today, I had a chance to talk to Catherine, and she said, well, I don't know. You know, she doesn't say it like that, and then she said, but possibly if we could have had more brilliant minds working on the problem, we could have come up with that solution earlier. I think about us sending a man to the moon, but the language needs to be, we send humans to the moon because we have to make sure that we don't alienate young girls who want to be astronauts going to the moon one day. So the language that we use is so critical to make sure that everyone's included in the meetings, in the discussions, that people are no longer hidden. And at that same time, in May of 1961, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was in the Deep South helping console the Freedom Riders who were getting bombed. And so this point in time, May of 1961, there were so many things going on. The most technologically advanced things about to happen, and then us trying to get our civil rights straight in our country. And then, I wasn't born yet. I was born in 1964. So when I think about this picture, September of 1961, this is my parents, Deems and Grace Melvin, on the left and in the middle. And I call this my pre-me picture because they were thinking about starting a family. And this was in Virginia Beach. They were both middle school teachers in Lynchburg, Virginia. And they were thinking about how their family going to be raised, how they're going to be educated, what are they going to be doing, what are they going to be one day. And then this thing happened. Mid-60s, Lieutenant Uhura on the Starship Enterprise is the first African-American woman on television who's in a leadership role. And I think about what she did to inspire young girls and young boys to be astronauts. One of those was Dr. Ronald McNair, who was sitting beside his brother watching the show, saying, if there are women like that in space, I want to do it. But Michelle Nichols was going to quit the show. And she went to an NAACP meeting that weekend and she tendered a resignation. And this gentleman told her that her #1 fan was right around the corner. She walked around the corner, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was looking with these big eyes at Michelle Nichols walking up. And He knew she was going to quit the show. He said, "You cannot quit the show. You were doing, and Gene and you were doing what I'm trying to do with the civil rights movement right now." And this is the first time that there was an interracial kiss on television in the 60s. The first time that there was an intergalactic kiss when he kissed the green woman, right? So this was groundbreaking stuff. And it was preparing the people here at Langley to envision a society working together as one civilization to help change the universe. And so I'm born around this time. I'm in mid-60s. And then one small step for human, one giant leap for humankind took place in 1969, and I was 5 years old. And I think about this because people ask me, did you always want to be an astronaut? I'm like, no. Because I didn't see anyone like me up there. So I wanted to be, well, before I wanted to be, we were always doing artwork, wearing my mother out, okay? So my sister and I drawing and painting and doing things. And I can barely be seen, you know. But I wanted to be Arthur Ashe. Because Arthur Ashe trained in Lynchburg, Virginia, where I was born, about 5 blocks down the street from where we lived. And my dad always talked about the character that he had, the work ethic that he had, the intelligence that he had. He was a good person. And I wanted to be like him. And then, so I played tennis all the time. Then my mother read to me every night, the little bit I could. I think I can, I think I can. And then my curiosity came from Curious George. I was always getting in trouble, doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. So this was part of my journey. And then it was when I got this age-inappropriate, non-OSHA certified chemistry set when I created the most incredible explosion in my mother's living room and burned a hole in her carpet. That one moment told me that I could be a scientist. I didn't have the goggles of the lab coat, but I created this energetic thing with these 2 dissimilar chemicals. Now, she definitely had a hand in my development, too. But I was transformed. My brain was activated to do this thing called science. And this was like a 3-hour trip down the road from Langley in Lynchburg, Virginia. And then I played football, I played basketball, I got a scholarship to the University of Richmond. I dropped a touchdown pass in the end zone my senior year in high school playing against Russburg High School. And I walked to the sideline and my coach grabbed me by the face mask, looked me in the eyes, and he said, "I believe in you. Get back out there and catch the ball again." So I'm lined up on the sideline, I'm running down the sideline, the crowd is screaming, running down the sideline, y'all scream crowd. The ball is coming into my hands, and I catch this ball, and we win the game. And unbeknownst to me, there was a college scout from the University of Richmond. They were watching to see if I could play. He watched me drop the pass the first time. He heard the crowd screaming the second time. He saw me in the end zone, like doing something like this. And he said, maybe this guy can play for us after he failed in such a horrific way. His friends were there from college. His family was there. He went to the sideline. His coach believed in him. And I think about all the people in this community that have believed in me through the research that we did in fiber optics, through all the things we've done to help advance our civilization. That's what legacy is about. That's what a journey, this 100-year journey is about. Helping people, inspiring people, motivating that next generation of explorers. So I went to the University of Richmond on a football scholarship. My first year we were 0-10. It's like, oh my goodness. We didn't win a game. 3-8 second year, 85 in the playoffs, and we ended up doing really well. So I ended up getting drafted into the NFL with the Detroit Lions. Okay, they cut me, so there's no allegiance there. Went to Detroit, pulled a hamstring in training camp. That was pretty much the end of my career. Played with Dallas for a little while. They cut me too. No allegiance. And before starting Dallas, I went to the University of Virginia to start working on a master's degree in material science engineering. The Wahoos! So this professor believed that I could do both. I could play professional football and study material science engineering. And it was a good thing because I pulled my hamstring with Danny White while Coach Langley was walking on the field, and that was the end of my football career. But I had this education to fall back on. And then I came to NASA Langley Research Center. Rosa Webster. How many of you know Rosa Webster? Rosa Webster was at UVA recruiting people to come work at NASA. And I looked at the NASA booth, kind of walking past it, NASA, kept walking. I saw DuPont and Dow, which I knew made more money than NASA. But she came and grabbed my arm and she said, "What's your name?" I said, "Leland Melvin." She said, "You're going to work at NASA." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm going to work at DuPont and Dow." She was tenacious. She saw something in me that I needed to be at NASA Langley. And so that interaction led me to coming to NASA to work in the fiber optics lab in building 1230. We worked on optical fiber sensors to use them in aerospace vehicles like X-33. And I did this for a little while. And the day that we made the first fiber sensor was the day that I got a call to get into the astronaut program. And again, I never imagined this, I never thought about this, but one of my friends handed me an application and said, "You'd be a great astronaut." I said, "Me, an astronaut? Really?" And then, how many of you know a guy named Charlie Camarda? A few of you? Well, Charlie Camarda applied that year that I didn't apply, and he got in. I said to myself, wait a minute. Well, if Charlie Camarda can get it, I can get in, right? So I applied the next year and I got in. And out of the 365 astronauts that have come out of the US, I was one of them. And it was because of the people in this room, friends, family, colleagues that believed in me. Now, I'm in the picture up there. Can you find me anywhere? Where's Leland? Up here in the front row? Let me give you a little help. There I am. I was not a hidden figure. I was in the core. I was in the core. I was in the group. I was in the club. And people that believed in me helped me get there. I worked in Russia for 2 years helping the first crew, Bill Shepard, Yuri Tiko, and Sergei Krikalev, get to the space station safely. I worked with them for 2 years, and then it was time for me to come home and do my training. So this is the neutral buoyancy laboratory. In my chase for space, this was my first time training in this 6 billion gallon pool. I got in my suit, and as you know, in these EVA suits, there's a little plastic device we call a Valsalva pad that was supposed to be in my suit, and it was not. As I went down about 10 feet, I told the test director that this pad is not in my helmet, and I'm the kind of guy, I need to press my nose to clear my ears. He said, "Do you want to come out?" I said, "No, I think I can work through it." 20 feet. I tell the test director to turn the volume of the headset up. I can't hear a thing. I hear nothing but kind of static and white noise. They take me out. The flight surgeon walks over to me. He's talking to me, but I can't hear anything he's saying. They take my helmet off. He touches my ear. He pulls back a bloody finger. And no one knew what happened to me. People from around the world, ear, nose, and throat doctors from around the world were trying to figure out, why did I go completely deaf? I lost all my hearing in this training event. And as we've gone through this 100-year journey, we've lost people. We've had setbacks. We've had so many things happen to us. But explorers never give up. They keep going. And the doctors were trying to figure out after the surgery to see if I had a periodontal fistula or see if my inner ear was damaged. They couldn't figure it out. And so I was told, you will never fly in space by the flight surgeons. You will never fly in space. And I said, well, I said, okay, but I couldn't hear anything that they were saying, so they wrote me all these notes on these yellow legal pads. And this is Daniel Golden, who was our administrator during the time. He had flown in to see me. And this is what he wrote to me. He said, I was going to Colorado, blah, 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 blah. I came to see you. I believe in you. I'm going to get better. Here's my cell phone. Call me anytime you need to. Well, if I call him, I can't hear him. I mean, what? So then he gave me this Eagle's Nest Nebula, where it's this nursery of stars, where stars are born. So you've seen that image before. One of the first images that the Hubble telescope took when it was repaired, when the scientific community said, you can't repair that with these clumsy astronauts and these clumsy gloves. There's no way to do that. And Dan Golden said, we do not give up on Hubble. We're not going to give up on you. And I think then he was fired like 3 months later or something. But long story short is, again, people were believing in me, sometimes when I didn't believe in myself. And this happened, my hearing came back slowly. I'm still hearing impaired this year. Things got better, but still the flight surgeons wouldn't let me fly in space. And so I went to work with NASA Education in Washington, D.C. to work the Educator Astronaut program. And this was 2003, of January 2003. Many of you know what happened February 1st, 2003. We lost our colleagues in Columbia. I was in D.C. I drove to David Brown's parents' home in Washington, Virginia to console his parents who had just lost their son in this tragic way. And I'll never forget what happened that night on Browns Mountain in Washington, Virginia. His father looked him in the eyes with tears and he said, Leland, my son is gone. There is nothing you can do to bring him back. But the biggest tragedy would be if we don't continue to fly in space to honor them, to carry on their legacy. And I'm like, wow. And I started crying. And his wife, Dottie, was there. We hugged and we cried and we were ready to honor the legacy of the Columbia crew. That night was so transformative for me because I wanted to figure out what I was going to do to honor our fallen heroes. And we went to the memorial service at Arlington Cemetery. We then flew to different memorial services around the country on the NASA airplane. And the chief flight surgeon, Rich Williams, was watching me. He was sitting beside me. Takeoff and landing, he would take notes in a little black notebook. And in May of 2003, when I was ready to come back home to Johnson to finish up the selection process for these educator astronauts, he called me in his office and he said, Leland, I believe in you. Here's the waiver for you to fly in space. If I had given up like some of my friends had told me to do, you say, quit NASA, write the tell-all book and get paid. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay the course, stay the path. And that's what we've done over these 100 years. We've stayed the path to excellence. And after that, the dog picture came up, got assigned to a flight, and they said, you can bring your family and take pictures. I'm like, well, my family's in Virginia. And I said, can I bring my dogs? I said, well, dogs aren't allowed on center, you know, so I had to sneak my dogs in. Had like a jar of milk bones, and eating the bones, and everything was great until the bones ran out, and then they started barking, the security guard came, and then we got the picture. So I took this picture before my first flight, STS-122, went to the International Space Station. My job, because I couldn't train in the pool anymore, was to do robotics. And so I was going to do the robotic arm and install the Columbus laboratory to the International Space Station. And Langley had designed some inspection techniques for looking at these tiles that were damaged on the Columbia accident so that we could do an entire scan of the entire underbelly, the nose cap, and everything, all the wings, so we'd be safe. And so I think about the people that worked on that project, the people that helped keep us safe as astronauts in space. And then I'm coming up on the space station. This is what it looked like before we got there. My job was to take this module out of the payload bay. This was the European Space Agency's laboratory. So before I got the mission, I was in mission control, and there were about 10 German flight controllers in there. And they said, we hear you're gonna install the Columbus Laboratory. And they're high-fiving me and chest bumping me, and this was a really joyous moment. As I'm walking out of the room, this one guy, he's got his arms crossed, looks at me and says, Mr. Melvin, we've been waiting 10 years, don't screw it up. So as I'm taking this out of the payload bay, installing it to the station, the motion starts stalling out just a little bit. It's these 4 ready to latch indicators that are spring-loaded, that are pushing a little bit on the modules getting closer. And the motion stopped, and in the back of my mind, this, don't screw it up. One little pull, Peggy Whitson was the commander, she said, pull just a little bit more, and now it's installed to the space station. So this is gonna be this home for European astronauts and other astronauts. And after we did this marvelous feat, Peggy, who's up in space now, invited us over to dinner in the Russian segment. Peggy said, you guys bring the rehydrated vegetables, we'll have the meat. So we float over with this bag of vegetables, and we kind of float around the table. There are people we used to fight against that we are breaking bread with at 17,500 miles per hour, going around the planet every 90 minutes, seeing a sunrise and a sunset every 45 minutes. I think about that meal. Sade is playing through the speakers. It's like smooth operators playing. And they're like doing a little dance, floating food to each other's mouths. But it was this moment, another transformative moment. Looking down at our respective hometowns, flying over Virginia. And then soon after that, over Paris and over Russia, and connecting back around the planet with people that we used to fight against. This space program brings people together through a language of technology and engineering and art and music and culture. It's something that fuels us as a civilization. So we finished the meal and get back to work, and then this is what the station looked like as we were flying around it going home. We had built this outpost to house Muslim astronauts, to house the first female commander, to house people that we used to fight against. And then I came home, and I connected with Pharrell Williams, who's from Virginia Beach. And I connected with Quincy Jones, who when I was in space said, he interviewed me and he said, Leland, you know that math and music are the only 2 true absolutes that use both the right and left side of your brain. So if you know math, you know music. If you know music, you know math. And when we teach STEM, we gotta add the A to make sure that kids know that it's creativity, it's ingenuity, it's music, it's all these things combined. And I call this the old school, new school picture, like the new school, old school, old school. There's Buzz and Quincy and Pharrell and Leland. But this was a powerful moment. And then I flew again in 2009, and this was another transformative moment. This is Atlantis about to take off from Kennedy Space Center. There's a little bit of sound on this, if you could give me a little sound. Or not? Oh, I think I can go that.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis on a mission to build and resupply.
So that's me there putting a mirror up to the air. I can actually see out of the overhead window as we do the rotation. And I can see where the plume is connecting to the ground, where my family is sitting. My family and friends are sitting down there. Many of you from Langley were there watching us hurl off to the cosmos. And I felt connected with all of you as we went up there. The support, the belief, the love, the care, the hard work to make sure that everything was going to be safe and secure. We got to space, the external tank got jettisoned, and now we're floating and working in microgravity. We installed 2 pallets for spare parts from the space station once the shuttle retired. And we did this with, again, people from all around the planet working together as a team. ELC-1 and ELC-2 were installed, and then it was time for us to do a little bit more robotics. This is Charlie Hobart, the commander, Bobby Satcher, Jeff Williams, and we're all just working on the robotics workstation, doing our jobs. And you know, in space you work hard, but you also, you play hard, right? Boom! That was the hit. I took the hit for the guys, you know? And then you transfer things with your legs as you move things around in the space station. We have Comrade here, who's going to be going up not too long from now, doing the zero-G, one hand, look mom, no hands maneuver. And then you have the Russian night where we had this meal again over on the Russian segment, having a great time with our Russian colleagues. Nicole Stott was in space. We brought her back home. She was there for 4 months. So we were her ride home. And again, just another moment of sheer joy, pleasure, floating foods in your mouth, breaking bread, doing all these things. And I called down to the ground and I said, how much should transfer item 914 weigh? And they said, you asked Nicole that. We're not going to tell you what she should weigh. So we transferred her back. The two commanders are saying goodbye. I'm just playing with my water and M&Ms and doing stupid astronaut tricks. And it was an incredible time. And almost choked to death on that, by the way. 2.5 G's coming home. You're feeling the Earth getting back in your system. This orb, you know, pulling you down again. Heads-up display. We're coming back home to Kennedy Space Center. And this was an incredible time because I knew this was probably going to be my last mission. Because I wouldn't be able to, you know, fly and do EVAs, which would be required to do a long duration mission. So came home to Kennedy, and it was just a glorious moment. And so that was it. Looking at the planet from that vantage point is just simply stunning. You look at the Middle East and you think about all the unrest that's going there, but from space it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. The Caribbean, Rigel Island, and these things in the ocean that just show you depth and color and sensation. The Andes Mountains and this thin blue line that keeps us alive as a civilization. And here's Lynchburg. So we're down here somewhere, I think, in the Atlantic seaboard, East Coast, and the cities at night are the only way we can identify where humans have been. It's just stunning and beautiful. And then I hung on my space boots, worked in NASA education for about 4 or 5 years, and I saw these 3 questions as we help inspire our next generation. How to prepare students for jobs they can imagine, how to ensure all students can meet the level of rigor, and how to build experiences, learning experiences that spark passion. The internships, the outreach, the things that we do as a community are the things that fuel our kids' imaginations and help them believe in themselves that they will be the next generation of explorers. I think about equality doesn't mean justice. When I see these 3 kids here trying to see the game, that's equality. Justice is when everyone has what they need to be successful. And then Katie Coleman was in space while we talked to young girls in Harlem, New York, at Donna Karen's studio, trying to inspire them to look past their surroundings of poverty and all these ills, so that they can be inspired and do what they want to do with that inspiration. And then my friend Beth Nielsen Chapman, I think she's up there, she played this beautiful music tonight. We had a chance to do some work in education down in Vanderbilt in Nashville, where we were inspiring kids and families with some of the mighty sky work that they did. And I had a chance to do a little spoken word with Beth as she was playing, but it was incredible. And that's why the arts are so important. Mars one day will be there. There'll be the people in this room that help get us there. And I think about my education team that was here at Langley before I retired. They were helping, again, move this message forward. And then I think about Katherine Johnson, who I saw this morning, who has transformed so many minds to let them know that they can be like her with a pencil and a piece of paper to help change our universe. So, 100 years NASA Langley. I'm proud to be part of that storied legacy, and I'm proud to be part of that incredible future. Thank you so much, and Godspeed.